Coach, you've gotten a chance over the last few years to work with Danielle and getting her to her second nationals trip. I guess what have you seen from her over the progression over these last few years to kind of get her back to this national stage?
Well, she had a pretty rough freshman year, and I think she learned a lot of lessons that year. And she's a really hard worker, and we're just starting to see where we can be with 2 years of really hard work and being a javelin thrower. So we're pretty excited about it.
So earlier this season, you took the trip with her to the Texas Relays where she hit her PR. Is there kind of an added comfort knowing that being out at that stage and performing at that level where in kind of an elite meet at that point can kind of add some comfort going into the elite meet of the outdoor season?
Yeah, and that's the reason we went. I'm thankful that we hit our college PR there. I think that gives her a lot of confidence going into a place where she knows what it's like, and the fact that she's been to a national championships before. She's got all those jittery experiences out, and I think we're ready to compete this time.
So with the time between prelims and the nationals, what's kind of the mentality to attack these last few practices before hitting the runway for the last meet of the season?
Our volume's low, our intensity's high. The cycle that we go on to peak for the big meet, it's not the best cycle to throw for at prelims. But we got the job done and we got through, and now we're ready to be at our best.
All right, good luck out there.
Thank you.
Coach, getting ready for this national meet with 3 national qualifiers, both Torpy's advancing, Danielle advancing. I guess take us through your overall thoughts on the performance of the group as a whole out in Jacksonville. Seemed some generally pretty good performances, even from the ones who didn't advance to the stage.
Yeah, we went in with really high hopes with Kenny Glenn and Danielle, and obviously Chris and Sean, and then we had Olivia Bechtel. They've all been performing at such a high level all year, and we look on paper and it was like, man, we could get everybody through if the races all played out the way they needed to. And so it was just really exciting to be down there and just to see how everybody did. We walk away with a new 4x4 school record yet again, and they didn't quite make it on, but it was just one of the greatest things to be down there and see everybody finish off on a high note. And to have 3 athletes advance to the national meet it's a great thing. And I know that they all have really high hopes and expectations for Austin, Texas.
And on those high hopes and expectations, Danielle has been putting in a lot of work, especially the last couple of years. Redshirted her last year, but 2 years ago she was on this national stage, and now she's back there. What have you seen in the progress from Danielle working with Coach Mans over the last couple of years?
Coach Mans is amazing. He's got a great group, and he's able to really develop athletes. And what I've noticed with Danielle is that being on that stage, she handles it extremely well. And I think, Chris mentions that just having been there one time and knowing how to visualize it and what it's going to be like, it's one of these things where they can now go into the competition knowing what to expect, but tearing down any of those negative things that might create too many nerves or get too much anxiety, being able to step out there and just compete is a fantastic thing. And I think that Sean, having watched Chris be there before, and they've also competed at the high level for most of their career, just knowing that they're one of the athletes that should be there, they deserve to be there, and they can show up and compete with almost anybody. Their confidence is really high right now, and all of that just adds to hopefully a better competition.
And you've gotten to know the Torpy twins for a long time, both in the process of getting them to Miami and then over their 3 seasons here competing. What have you seen in terms of their progression to where it seems like every week the ceiling kind of gets higher and higher?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I think we started off on a rough road. I told them when they got here, I'm not going to just try to replicate what you did in high school. And we were training. I said, I'm going to train you to be a high-level competitor, not just at the high school level, but we want to be a high-level competitor at the NCAA level and hopefully beyond that. And so that first year was a little bit rough because it was training they weren't used to. But I think that it's brought us to a point now where I wouldn't be surprised to go see Sean go run 1:45 in the half mile, or to see Chris go run sub 3:40 in the 15. And those are marks that would get them to the U.S. championships, and that's essentially the next stage. That's definitely the goal, I think, for both of them. And it was a little nerve-wracking at the end of year one when we weren't getting the results that we were hoping to get, but it was also one of those things where I had to kind of reassure myself, just, stay the course and let's make sure that we get there. And I think right now they're juniors. We're talking about next year already, and next year's an Olympic year, and hopefully we have a chance to go step on the line at Olympic trials and really see, like that's the culmination of our sport if you're able to achieve that level. I think both of them have the capability. I hope for a great performance from both of them down in Austin this weekend.
With the Torpies having, at this postseason level, lighter competition load than they have pretty much the entire season, how much beneficial can that be in terms of allowing them to kind of not have to necessarily leave, not that they leave things in the tank, but not having to keep in the back of their mind, okay, I got to keep fresh for the 15, the 5, the steeplechase, et cetera, but focus in on just one great race at a time in a day.
It'll definitely be a benefit. I mean, they've raced a lot. We had a really high workload this year, and one of the things that we can, again, one part of our expectation is once we back off the intensity, they should be fresher. They should have more pop in their legs, and the idea of only focusing on one race each, I think gives them even more confidence. So they're ready.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.